Good morning. My name is Alexander Abraham, and it's a proud privilege to be here with all of you all this morning. So I'd like to start this opening session with a story. Please bear with me if you have heard about this one before. So we had a story that I heard about a scientist who was sitting assiduously working hard, and he was approached by his young son, about 7 years old, and he wanted to distract him from his work and, continue to pester him as young children at that age are wont to do. The scientist, who didn't want to be interrupted, wanted him to get busy with something else. And so he took a page from a booklet which had the world map, and he tore it into pieces and told his young son to try to fix and put the map together. So he was so confident that the child would be busy for days that the child disappeared and he was at ease and he got back to his work. But lo and behold, in about half an hour's time, the child was back and said, "Hey, Dad, I've done what you asked me to do." And the father couldn't believe it, but when he looked at his son and looked at the task, lo and behold, the map was perfectly in place. So the scientist asked his son, "How did you do that? And how on earth did you manage to put the world back together?" And the young man, as the young generation of today, gave a wonderful answer, and he said, "Dad, I don't know what you did, but I saw that on the back of that picture, there were the pieces of a man. When you gave me the world to fix, I tried and I couldn't, but I flipped all the pieces and started to fix the man together. And when I did that, the world was fixed as well." A beautiful story. But when I was reflecting on this, as some of you may have heard the story, but I reflected a little bit on this, and I could straight away infer three things which I feel are very pertinent to this conference that we are all attending today. We deal with a smarter, keener, much more ambitious, thinking on their feet young generation of young people who are ready to push boundaries, explore new opportunities for learning, and of contributing to the world that they're going to take charge of in the near future. They have fantastically refreshing perspectives to look at the world around us. Secondly, the poor, wise old generation of us folk think that the cliched patterns of keeping the world and the sun engaged are soon going to get a hard knock. This conference was visioned with trying to look at new perspectives of how to change old cliched ideas. And thirdly, for sure, if we can fix the man, we can get the world straightened out much better. So not just are we looking at young people who want to go out into the big, beautiful world and find great grad schools and universities, but it's also looking at how the conformed ideas can be changed. This conference was visioned to change minds and thinking and looking at the whole office of counselors with different lenses. And truly, if we can fix and meet the needs of the young people in our schools or on the threshold of graduating, we can surely help their choices become much better for a better world for them. I'm also drawn to the concept of a rudder. A rudder is a flat piece hinged vertically near the stern of a boat or ship for steering. I can guess many of us counselors who are here feel that we are more or less something like a rudder. Ostensibly nondescript and often thought as rather unnecessary, but forsake it and you really know that the ship is going to be adrift. I couldn't even hesitate to say that the Office of the Career and College Counselor is the rudder hub of the schools. The role of the counselor to help the student take a well-thought-out course is so significant that it caused Ganesh and all his friends at KIC to remark August 31st and 1st of September on their calendars and ours so emphatically that we are all here together with an undiluted conviction of the enormity of this event and of the role of those counselors and career office. More often than not, the role of the counselor has been looked at more or less like even a Cinderella story. You know, Cinderella was pushed to the side, but come the day of reckoning, and Cinderella became in the limelight. And the career in college counselors are definitely the ones who are going to make the game changers for our children. They say ideas change the world and great seeds lie ready to bear much fruit. And I know this for sure that in my personal understanding and connect with Ganesh and the KIC team, that they had this dream about a year and a half back that they wanted to set this conference. And it's such a wonderful moment for all of us who have been engaged with this conference to see this actually bear fruit. It was a debate between conviction and passion on one hand, and doubt and dangers on the other. But thankfully, those two hearty friends, conviction and passion, won, and we are here today to have this conference. Anything that is started with such a deep commitment and intense passion, combined with intensive planning, an organization will bear dividends. This is a fantastic platform where universities and colleges, schools and their administrators, and counselors will get to interact and share, network, make new connections, which offers the best chance for our young people. Therefore, let this conference be 2 days of sessions that inform and break conformity, hours of networking with old and new acquaintances, moments of connecting and discovering just how amazing the portals, both for schools and universities, is going to be. I'm sure you're all as excited and supercharged as all of us were in the planning and advisory group as we were preparing for this conference. It's time for some formal setup as we go into the opening part of this conference. It's our proud privilege, as we have been reading and seeing, to have Mrs. Kiranbir Sethi here. And it's a great privilege, ma'am, to have you here, to be able to give the keynote address at this session. Thank you, ma'am, for having accepted this offer. May I request you to kindly come up on stage? So I'd request you, ma'am, to kindly give away these plaques to our special invitee speakers. Dr. Newton Kondaveti, could you please come up? And I'd request you to please stay on stage for the group photograph. Dr. Lakshmi GV. Dr. Vasumati Badrinathan. Mr. Mansoor Khan. Dr. Indusani will be coming later. She's not here at the moment, ma'am. So we'll just take a photograph and then we'll have the next round of presentations. Ma'am, I request you to stay for the next round. Thank you, sirs and ma'am. Over the last 8 to 9 months, a group of advisory committee as well as the planning committee have set this whole conference into motion. So this is a time to recognize them. Could I request Ms. Roopkatha Sarkar, who's on our advisory committee, to please come up. Captain Rohit Bajaj. Dr. Shalini Advani. Mr. Vishnu Karthik. Mrs. Revati Srinivasan. This was the team of advisors, the advisory committee for the conference. Thank you. Yes, a picture. Thank you. And the last group of planning committee members, Ms. Ashka Vadalia. She's from Navrachna International School. Ms. Asma Ansari from the Delhi College, Indore. Ms. Deblina Chakrabarti from Pathway School, Noida. Dr. Bhavani Shankar Subramaniam from Lalaji Memorial Omega International School, Chennai. Dr. Teresa Virankabutra, who is from the Concordian International School, Bangkok. Ms. Geeta Jayant from the Bangalore International School. Mrs. Kalpana Mohan from Velamal Global School, Chennai. Ms. Namrata Pandey from Step by Step, Noida. Ms. Rathuli Mukherjee from La Martiniere for Girls. Ms. Renee Bowling from Woodstock School, Mussoorie. Ms. Rhonda Wing from Australian International School, Singapore. Ms. Shilpa Gupta from Nirja Modi School, Jaipur. Ms. Shivangi Panchal from Ahmedabad International School. Mr. V. Karthikeyan from the Lawrence School, Lovedale. So that's the entire group of the planning committee. Sorry, ma'am.
Ganesh, you have to come here. Your sparkly eyes are needed. Yeah, Ganesh!
Dr. Ken Silburn has just joined us, so I request Kiran ma'am to kindly give away the plaque to Dr. Ken Silburn. And I request our invite speakers to join Kiran ma'am to light the lamp as an auspicious beginning to the conference. Could I request our special speakers, Dr. Newton Kondaviti, Dr. Lakshmi, Dr. Ken Silburn, Dr. Vasumati, Mr. Mansoor Khan to kindly join Kiran ma'am to light the lamp. It's the time now to introduce an individual who's been the visionary behind this conference. For the last year and a little more, I've had personally the opportunity to see the passion of a man with the heart is a teacher. And that's what he's been sharing to those of us who know him very personally. KIC Universist and Ganesh, your dream has borne fruit this morning, and from its very nebulous state, as a seed of thought, as a seed of imagination, it's today pulsating, ready to kick off. What I've tangibly felt as a member of the planning committee is a sense of, yes, we can, if one may borrow the phrase from President Obama's 2008 campaign. And this emanates from the organization and its founder, Ganesh. Ganesh, for those of us who know him and know him really well, carries this mantra of never say never and pushing boundaries with an incessant energy and passionate drive. You know, what I personally love about the man is the fact his sense of enabling empowerment to the counseling community as the heart of an educator through constant and consistent efforts to build bridges and break down old and archaic ideals of what exactly that role can define. Ganesh has been a teacher and counselor for the last 20 years, helping thousands of students achieve their dream of choosing the right career. He's recognized as a thought leader in the community and has visited a number of schools and colleges across the globe and presented on career and university options at several hundred high schools and colleges. Also has been a regular participant and presenter at several international conferences like NAFSA and OACAC, which is now the IACAC. In 2010, Ganesh Kohli jointly founded KIC Universist with a vision to bring universities and high schools together and drive global engagement. Now he's the chief mentor for Universist, providing thought leadership and direction to a fast-growing organization. Ganesh has established many successful enterprises over the years and focused on engagement and counseling needs of high schools and colleges around the world. He's an engineer by education, and along with his wife Preeti, also volunteers with the Soul Science Foundation to bring meditation and life skills education to children in different parts of the globe. If I keep talking about this, it would probably require a third day of the conference. So dear delegates and friends, it's a great privilege and pride to welcome the chair for the IC3 conference, Ganesh, to come up on stage and take the session forward. Ganesh Kohli.
Thank you very much, Alex, for your kind words. I'm a little bit informal, so if I goof up, I apologize in advance. I actually brought a book here, which is by Dr. Wayne Dyer, and it has the verses from the Tao Te Ching, which is one of the wisest books written. And I wanted to share with you a verse that I have been sharing with some of my US university colleagues and some of our other events that we've done in many parts of the country leading up to this conference. So that really sets the tone for what this conference is really about. And what some of our work is about. The 76th verse from the Tao Te Ching: a man is born gentle and weak. At his death, he is hard and stiff. All things, including the grass and trees, are soft and pliable in life, dry and brittle in death. Stiffness is thus a companion of death, flexibility a companion of life. An army that cannot yield will be defeated. A tree that cannot bend will crack in the wind. The hard and stiff will be broken. The soft and supple will prevail. There is a big piece to what KIC wanted to be. There was this passion for teaching and learning and counseling that brought us into existence. And one of our philosophies has been to remain childlike, always willing to learn. And every now and then, I learned over the years that I developed an ego and that I had to chop it off to move forward. And is exactly what happened to me a few years back, about 6 or 7 years back, where I thought, well, I know it all. I've counseled 4,000 students. I've visited 350 universities all around. I think I know it all. And that ego, that arrogance started to come into my life. Until I was exposed to some meditation my first teacher was my wife, Dr. Preeti Kohli, who's here as well. And she exposed me to meditation. And she introduced me to two other teachers who are my teachers now, my guides, Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi that you saw here. And it's their mantra as well to remain childlike, always willing to learn. So I welcome all of you to this conference. This conference is really not for us to tell you anything, but for me to learn from you, for all of us to learn from each other. It's about us being flexible and open and willing to embrace this rapidly changing world around us, particularly the young students that we all interact with. And the biggest risk for all of us is arrogance and this belief that we know it all, which I, on multiple occasions in my life, demonstrated. And I probably will again tomorrow. So I request you to come and hold me by my collar and say, Ganesh, you didn't do it well. You need to improve here. Because that's our best chance of really saving the lives of a lot of young people that all of us touch. We're living in a world where there's a lot of reluctance often. Monday mornings don't feel so great to a lot of people. And that's often happening because of some of the choices that they might have made with careers, with colleges. And I would encourage all of us to really look at, reevaluate how we are guiding our young people. I think we need to move beyond this idea of selling an idea to them or selling them something. We need to really move in a direction of advising and counseling and guiding and inspiring and mentoring them rather than giving them a solution or selling them an idea. Whether it's an organization or a university or a high school, the secret of getting a lot of people, we all have our compulsions of enrollments and all of those challenges, but the secret is to get one good student that will bring 10, because if you bring one bad fit student, you're going to stop 10 more from coming. And that's my realization. For the first 12 years of my existence, when I did a lot of test prep, etc., I know that our advertising and publicity budget was zero. Many of you walked through this conference and said, Ganesh, I've never really seen you anywhere. And because we never really thought that we needed to do anything other than help young people make good decisions. That was the focus of all of the work that we've done. And this is really, it is in that spirit that we set up this conference. For the first time, I prepared a script because I've always been, whatever comes from my heart, I speak. So I prepared a script because I'll forget things. And I was sure I will forget things. So I'm looking into a paper after many years while I'm speaking. So firstly, thank you. Thank you to every single one of you for being here, because by being here, you're supporting a mission. You aren't really, I know that you have some compulsions or we have certain agendas here, but you also supporting a larger mission of transforming young lives. If you read that introductory note in your booklet, we're really here to help transform young lives. And I thank you all for being here. I also wanted to share, I don't have the updated statistics. I will give it to you at the closing function. But we were at about 278 odd registrations up until yesterday. We'll see how many people walk into the gate and how many people don't show up. We'll find out. But about 20 countries represented, about 50 odd cities represented in this room. And this is our first conference. So this is the first IC3 conference. So all of the people that came up front here, I want you to know that they all they dreamt this dream with me. I made a suggestion, and I'm glad that so many of you, I experienced the love actually. I like to use the word love because that's actually what I experienced. There was this sense of, I didn't know how to give away things. This was my first conference. I'd never organized a conference. I'd done a lot of other organizational work, but I never organized a conference. And it was only when I got stuck did I call somebody or the other in the committees. I said, I'm feeling down. I don't know where to look. And I would just pick up the phone and call somebody. But many of them have worked relentlessly. They've spent a lot of their time. So to my advisory and planning committee members, this is all on our behalf together. We did it together. I also want to thank my colleagues. I don't know if you know that there were some people in my team who stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, made all of this happen. My conference co-chair, David Joyner, who did all of the mixing and matching and helping people put the sessions together. But also my colleagues, I don't want to name any one of them. The co-founder of my organization back in 97 is when KIC was founded. In 2010, my dear friend Swaraj Nandan gave up a plush Manhattan job to co-found KIC Universist in the US. So thank you, Swaraj. And thank you for allowing me to do this conference because when I proposed this idea, this was an airplane that was going through maintenance on the ground. Nobody was willing to spend on the engine or the seats in the aircraft. It was an idea. I got a lot of people I went to asking for money. I said, folks, it's not even a few tens, not tens of thousands, but it's $150,000 that we'll need to put something like this together. Can I have some money? I said, Ganesh, when have you done it before? We know you, we love you, but when have you done this before? I said, never. And said, okay, so come back next year. Let's see how it goes this year. And my colleagues at KIC University said, Ganesh, go ahead. If this is your dream, you want to do this, go ahead. I'm so thankful to all the people who sponsored, whether you sponsored with an advert or a table. We got a little bit of sponsorship. We appreciate that, but we are thankful for that. But now the plane's actually taken off. We showed that the engines work. In our first attempt, we've actually potentially managed to put the largest gathering of its kind in the region of school delegates. So we're very, very positive that we'll continue to grow this movement. The IC3 is a movement. I don't want to own it. KIC does not want to own this conference. We don't want to be stuck with this conference forever. We want all of you to take over. We come from a space of collaboration. We come from a space of oneness. We come from a space of manifesting through collaboration. We are not in a space of competing. And what are we competing for? We are even fighting over land and sea today, and we are fighting over so many little things. We all have more of everything, and yet we continue to have disagreements about everything. So this is really not a competitive venture. I know there's a lot of talk about which conference, this conference. I just want you to know we're not competing. We want everybody to be involved with this project. We want this to be a collaborative venture. That's the nature of who we are as an organization. We want to collaborate, and we really want to improve, transform young lives through collaboration. I also wanted to say that there's a lot of synchronicity in what has happened here. I'm going to introduce Kiran formally in a little bit because she's been demanding the plaque here, so I have to find, yeah, and we're among the most casual people. I don't know what it's really hard for me to stand steady, firstly, in this place. It feels awkward. Hopefully one of you will become the conference chair soon and take over. But I wanted to say that there's a lot of synchronicity. My spiritual guides, my teachers in Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi, they've inspired me in many ways to do this work, to bring mindfulness in the decision-making process at schools and colleges. So my wife and I, we went out, did some meditation sessions, etc. We said, people need to really choose things to become happy. And people need to choose out of love, not out of fear. There are only two kinds of emotions. We do things out of fear or out of love. You know, when I said in class 9 to my mother that I want to become Molly Ibrahim, she was shocked. Who's Molly Ibrahim, she said. I said, she's my math teacher. She said, you don't want to be an engineer or a doctor? I said, no, I want to be Molly Ibrahim. She said, are you crazy? My mother was a Hindi teacher. She said, beta bhuka nahi marna in Hindi, which meant that, son, I don't want you to starve. And the reality was there was a lot of fear around this profession of teaching that was put in me when I was in class 9. My mother, mind you, and all of our teachers do it out of love. She genuinely didn't want me to starve. And she said, don't become a teacher for God's sake. And I was stubborn. I ended up doing engineering. I had an engineering degree, but that was by accident. Ended up teaching, and after 6 years, all my friends were working for the Microsofts and the Googles and all of that. And I was, after 6 years, literally starving. I knew exactly, though, that at 10 p.m. in the night, I loved how I felt. And at 6 a.m. in the morning, I ran to do a class. I loved what I was doing. And I figured then that that's fine. I got what I really wanted to do. Now let's find a way to make some money. And I became an entrepreneur. And here we are today. And we need to be an entrepreneur to be able to succeed. Whether it's a university or a school, we have our compulsions. But the key is that it is possible to have a career, have a life, doing things that we love. Without the fear, if I had inherited that fear from my mother, which I kind of carried for a few years. I had some resentment, I had worries after 2 or 3 years, am I messing my life up? Am I doing something that's wrong? Etc. I think a lot of our young people, when I travel around many of your schools, a lot of our young people are choosing careers out of fear. And that's something that we hope we'll be able to change through this conference. And for them to believe that whatever they love, there's a career that's possible with that. A criminal act in 2001, hacking, is a lucrative career in 2016, information security and ethical hacking. But in 2001, a young boy would have been admonished if he was a hacker. How dare you sneak into other people's email IDs and do all of this mess? But today, that's a lucrative career. What in our perception is good or bad is purely a judgment that we make. The kids know it the best. And it's really about allowing them to express themselves and share, and for us to build an infrastructure through a college and career counseling office to be able to do that. So I wanted to say the synchronicities. I met Mr. Mansoor Khan on an airplane and invited him to come to the IC3. I'd never met him. I fell in love with his movies, Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak and Jo Jeeta Wohi Sikandar. I read about him 2 days before the before I met him on a plane. I was going with my wife and my in-laws to Kunur, and he was sitting on the aisle seat, which was, by the way, not his seat. It was his wife's seat. And my wife, who was sitting in the middle seat, actually pardoned herself to go to the restroom, and Mansoor introduced himself to me. I couldn't identify it was Mansoor. And you know, having Dr. Badrinathan here, I told a former student parent, can you introduce me to somebody who can talk about non-traditional careers, about languages, about, you know, I met a young man who made $140,000 having just studied Japanese, you know, and he was doing translations, and he loved language. He just loved Japanese culture, and he loved Japanese people, and he was all of 28 years old, and he was making more money, and he was joyous. He just loved, he was helping companies translate pieces and doing a whole bunch of other things. But I met Dr. Badrinathan. So all of this is actually just fallen in place. We just kind of we've done our best, and we've surrendered. So that's something that I wanted you to know. Finally, I want to share a little bit about where we are headed from here. In this conference, we've got 35 breakout sessions. And to be able to do that in our first conference is challenging. We had a lot of work that my colleagues put in, David put in, the planning committee, the advisory committee, they vetted proposals, etc. I'd encourage all of you to attend as many sessions as you can. The way the itinerary, the calendar is done, there might be 15 people in a session, 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, doesn't matter. We are going to record all the sessions, don't worry about it. We are recording every single session, there's a camera. This knowledge is not to hide. IC3 is not going to create copyright, that this is mine and this is yours and I will not give you this. IC3 is about letting it all out. We'll have a learning hub on our website eventually where all the sessions will be available. So if you could not attend all the 35, you'll only be able to attend 5 or 6 or 7. We want to share. We want to create new knowledge at this conference. And we've got a lot of speakers here. And they've worked very hard to put these sessions together. So I'd encourage all of us to go into as many sessions. If you miss another session, you'll have a chance to see it online after a few weeks. I also wanted to share with you, 2017 is already planned. It's the JW Marriott Aero City in Delhi on the 30th and 31st of August. IC3 2017 is already planned, folks. And the madness that we have around me, we've staked it all without having a single sponsor right now supporting us. We've gone for it. And, you know, I remember Jerry Maguire said, "Show me the money." And everybody said, "Ganesh, in my organization, they've been, for the most part, supportive." They said, "At least after the first conference, show us enough money to run it." I said, "Hang on, let's just do this first. We'll see what happens." And 2017, I invite all of you to participate. It's a collaborative venture. It's not really about, it's not about one or two individuals. I'm already seeing a lot of support pouring in. It's a Wednesday and a Thursday in 2017. We'll have a full year to plan, and I'd invite as many of you as possible to present. The vision that we set ourselves, so the venue can accommodate up to 1,200 people. We expect to be at least double, if not triple the size, 700 or 800 people in 2017. And our conviction is in 5 years, we will have a conference on career and college counseling and the needs of our students from class 8, 9, 10 onwards. We will have a conference with 5,000 attendees from all over the world, right here in Asia. Where in Asia, we don't know, but that's the vision. 5 years, and that's really what that's driving us. We are here on this first occasion, but we're committed to realizing this vision, and we already have an opportunity for all of us to get involved. So we do have a meeting tomorrow. I believe, Renee, are we at lunchtime? Is that at, yes, 11:45. For all those who would like to get involved with IC3 in 2017, please come and see us in Salset 3. That's our control center here at the conference. So you can come to Salset 3. And so we need committee members, we need a whole bunch of other people to participate.
Thank you so much. And this resonates so well with a quote that Steve Jobs once said, and I quote him, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the result of other people's thinking. And don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. Most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. These somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary," unquote. I'm confident that these are words that we want to carry back to our students. We believe that our students must take it forward to help shape thought and look at the world of opportunities and break the conformed and normative. We're quite sure that this conference is going to be a really groundbreaking one for each one of us here. And thank you all for being here. And I'm confident that this is going to be a great rocking experience for all of us. a few announcements and words of thanks. We'd first of all like to thank the conference sponsors in no particular order: Hobson's, Indian School of Design and Innovation, OP Jindal University, KIC Universist, VIT University, Hindustan University, UTS InSearch, La Roche International School of Hotel Management, Switzerland, and also our content partners, College Board, Education World, the International Baccalaureate, TIC, and the Australian Trade and Investment Commission. Finally, spread the word, and it's on our Facebook page, there's a Twitter handle, WhatsApp, spread the word. And we want to let people know, as Ganesh has said, as we all desire, to ensure that this conference is the most beneficial for all of us.